This episode is sponsored by Tension Twisted Realities, Lincoln's original and best escape room with a bar and virtual reality too.
Never miss an episode of Links Pod. Subscribe now, wherever you get your podcasts.
It's a Links Pod special. Look, it's Scouting for Girls.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah.
Yes, all right. Yeah. It's a very hot day. We're in Market Rasen. They're about to go on stage in a bit. But betting first, boys. Who's betting? Anyone?
You? No, I haven't bet.
Nothing.
Stevie, our tech, is using ChatGPT.
Yeah. Really?
And it's failed every time. So
He's lost his house.
Don't bet using artificial intelligence.
So I think the future is going to be okay. Yeah. ChatGPT can't even get that right. You would pick 1 out of 6.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time now. The band have been going. Let's start with a bit. I want to try and get into a bit of things people don't know, maybe right at the beginning. So you all met at school. I think most people know that. Is that right?
Well, me and Pete met earlier than that. We met in Cub Scouts.
Oh yeah, Cub
He was my
Scouts.
sixer.
Yeah.
He's pretty much been telling me what to do for the last 30 odd years.
Yeah. When we were, but I would have probably been 8. You'd have been 6.
Yeah.
Well, I think we were in the same Beaver group.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did a full tour of duty with the Scouts.
And were you?
Special forces and everything.
Beavers, Cubs, Scouts, French Scouts.
And were you playing a musical instrument or whatever prior to that when you were 2 or something? What was the score? No,
not
so
really. I did a recorder, like we all do.
We all do record.
Yeah.
I've still got my recorder.
Farrah Jacka.
So you got chatting at Cub Scouts and said, let's try learning some instruments.
I was just telling him what to do.
Yeah.
I was like saying, Pete, make that fire.
Yeah, that's when we met. We didn't actually do anything.
We didn't.
Until I was about 16.
Yeah,
so
we knew each other for 10 years before we started playing music together.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hated him.
I kept telling him what to do. Yeah. Whereas Greg, we met on the first day of school, so we knew each other for 2 or 3 years before we started playing music. We were like the uncool kids at school. In fact, what happened was I was in my class. I started getting bullied when I was about 12, 13, and Greg was with this other group of kids, and they were.
We just said bully me.
No. And Greg was very kind, and he let me come and hang out around with his friends. And then we were already friends before, but then we became best friends. And then only a couple of years after that did we start. Basically, Greg's crowd was not the coolest crowd.
Oh, really?
If you think we're uncool, you should have seen that.
We were literally the uncoolest crowd, and so we used to hang around in a place called the Quiet Green, just to give you an idea of how cool we were.
Yeah, that does sound cool.
Yeah, we didn't play football. And when we were on the Quiet Green, we saw this drum kit being taken through the Quiet Green into the music room, and the school had bought a drum kit, which was quite a big thing. It was like a very bog standard comprehensive. So to spend some money on a drum kit, and it was like people saw a drum kit, we saw the potential of having a girlfriend.
It was like a light.
A girl,
Yeah.
This could lead to girls.
Potentially we could be cool. Maybe we could lose virginity at some point. That was kind of what we saw with that drum, and so we took lessons straight away.
Signed up to the lessons, they were a rip-off.
Yeah.
So at this point,
Greg is still bitter.
Was it 15
He's
minutes?
literally
One
had a lifetime, lifetime making music.
yeah.
Literally
that guy
got
was
more
fleecing
money
so
than he
many kids.
ever thought he would ever get, and still, whenever I mention those drum lessons, he says they're a rip-off. They were like £7 a lesson.
Yeah, but we drummed for about 30 seconds at the end
That
of
was
it.
the early 90s. That's about 10 grand now.
It was like a 10-minute lesson.
And don't
where
forget, you have to buy this book, and then you can buy your drumsticks from me. That's another 40 quid.
It's still bitter.
He is bitter.
Yeah.
I can
He
feel
was-
it.
This will never
He
die.
was a bit of a, he was a drummer who obviously wanted to be a drummer, didn't want to be at teaching kids, which is understandable. So he'd literally just make us watch him drum for 8 minutes. Then we each got 30 seconds each, and that was £7. So it was 10-minute lessons.
Wow, that's amazing.
So Mr. Childs, we love you. But it was, and that sort of set us on the path to music.
But you make it sound like at this point you could have all ended up with different roles. I mean, did you just take to the drums, for example?
Well, like I said, they were sat there 10 years later,
Right.
the cool kid turned up.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I I was just in other bands at school because I'm a little bit younger than them. So I was in just a normal school band, cover bands. And
You can't tell he's younger.
yeah.
No.
Not anymore.
No, not anymore.
I think that's probably going to be the biggest shock on this on this film, to be honest.
And then,
It's all that drumming.
No.
It's all that drumming.
and then
3
these
weeks.
two, something happened with your drummer. Or he got a proper job. And
Well, the
my
story
friends
with
went
that
to
was, it was a twist of fate. Basically, we stopped playing the drums because, like, only losers really play drums. And we discovered proper instruments with strings. And so we started playing guitar and we formed a band like that. And then we were in various school bands. And then we had, our drummer at the time had left to go to university. And then
He's
we...
an amazing drummer.
He was
the
a
one.
good drummer.
He's a better lawyer though.
Yeah,
From what I
He's
hear.
an amazing
Yeah.
drummer.
He's a lawyer now,
Yeah.
right?
But and then there was another drummer at our school because we were at different schools,
Right.
and we asked him to play for us, and he said yes. And somewhere in between him saying yes and that rehearsal, I might have kissed his girlfriend.
I'm glad you
Oh.
said that, because I thought we were going to go down the other route. I was like, oh.
Yeah, and so he phoned up. And I bet this is the olden days
On
with
a landline,
landlines.
yeah.
So he phoned up and told me,
Heavy
in
breathing
not a very
down the-
polite way, that he didn't want to be in our band. He quit before he was even in it. And so I put the phone down, and we had a rehearsal booked at Survival Studios in Acton, where we'd been going for years, and where we still went for another 20 years after. And I thought I better let them know, I better cancel it. And I picked up the phone.
The guy was still on the other end.
No, it was you, dickhead. That was it. So I picked up the phone and I was going to put in the number. I put in the number and there was somebody there, and it was Pete.
No.
And literally,
Fate.
I'm sorry, mate. I've phoned the wrong person.
no, but I'd been, because we needed a drummer. I'd been asking him to be our drummer for about a year
Right.
beforehand, and he was like, "Oh, I'm in my school band."
Ironically, his lead singer copped off with Pete's guy.
Oh,
Loyalty. All my friends had gone to uni,
Yeah.
so I was doing nothing. I was like, well, now's the time to.
But it was at that moment, and he was there. I didn't call him, and like it was.
That
And the
is-
thing is,
wow.
if it had been a split second before, if I'd have got through to Survival, I know what he's like. He'd have phoned once, and he'd gone, "No, can't be bothered." And that, I think, that is literally set our entire destiny since.
yeah, that was
There you
brilliant.
go.
So you start
Legend.
Yeah.
Well,
It's all down to
we
you.
could have had a really good drummer.
Yeah.
And
Really
been
successful.
we'd be in
They
stadiums
could
by
be
now.
Coldplay by now.
Yeah.
So it starts at that level. What
Yeah.
point do you think are you doing covers at that point? Is that what's happening, or are you trying to write your
No,
own
we were
stuff?
writing our own stuff.
That was,
There was a mixture of...
yeah.
Was there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was-
You stopped doing loads of when I joined. You'd stop doing loads of covers and start doing your own stuff.
Yeah. It was the 90s. It was Britpop.
Yeah.
Everyone cool was in a band, and that we loved
And
that.
even uncool people were in bands too.
Yeah.
And we kind of that was the dream. So we were mainly writing our own stuff, weren't we? We probably do more covers now than we did back then, when nobody knew any of our songs. But yeah, it was a lot of our stuff. And then, it was just an overnight 10-year success from when we first started playing to when we got a record deal.
And obtaining a record deal, tell me about that. You record what onto cassette tape at the time, or what? A CDR and send it off to places?
It was CDs. It wasn't the 80s, mate.
We actually, at one point, we got a record deal with this really dubious manager. And I was 1 year into a university degree, and I took a year out. And basically, this guy said we could be the next big thing, but he just needed like $4,000 to record a single.
Okay.
So Pete had a job, but I had some savings because I had a year there, and we put all our money into this.
Oh yeah.
We recorded an awful version of our best song, and put it out.
Have you ever heard that since? Is there any?
No.
evidence
Oh,
of
I've got it somewhere. And basically, it was awful.
Yeah.
Was it one of the songs we know now? Or,
No.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
your best song at the time.
Yeah, and it's still a good song, but we managed to, that whole record deal, we managed to get dropped from a record label we were essentially paying for.
Right.
In,
And they dropped you, right?
Well, yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And I'd taken a year out of university, And I managed to get dropped by the record label before the year even started.
Wow.
So I literally, so I ended up having to spend a year in Iceland. Not the country, the supermarket.
Mum's gone.
Tell me about your parents' reaction at this point then, when it's you quit a university and
My
then you've
parents
lost
were
your...
super chill.
Were they?
They were just super supportive.
Were they? I bet
Yours
lots of people...
weren't they? In fact, your dad, still to this day, is probably the most supportive person of us.
I think that's why we always did almost manage to carry on doing it for such a living long time.
Yeah.
Right.
I think our parents were just like, if you believe in it, go for it.
Really?
Yeah.
My dad used to say to me, stop gorming about in that bedroom and get a proper job, when I was practising on the decks, when I was starting to DJ and stuff. Well, thanks again. What about your parents? Were they on board?
The same, yeah.
Were they?
It was get out of the house, you know.
Even at the point where...
he was working. He had
I
an
was working. I was
apprenticeship.
an apprenticeship. So I
Did you get any GCSEs?
No, that was terrible.
Did you? You did.
Wait,
Not GCSEs.
Not really.
No.
No, not very good ones. I stayed on next year because I'm the youngest half of the year. And then, I just got an apprenticeship, which was good because it just meant I could do things in the evening.
Yeah. And he had a van.
I did have a van.
There's always got to be somebody in a band
There was one thing
with
we
a
were
van.
doing in the old band, doing lots of promo and photos. I didn't realise it had the actual works van in the back. I was like, I hope no one ever sees this, because I was super... they were like, what? We used to record in Wales, in North Wales, which is, 200 plus miles from where we live. And literally, I'd take the van back and they're like, why is the mileage, when they're doing it, suddenly jump at this point from 10 miles like a week to 250 over a week?
Very strange. Were you called Scouting for Girls at this point then?
No.
Right. What were you called?
We had a succession of awful names. We had...
Oh, please.
We had
Power Cut.
Power Cut, which was the first one.
Right.
Because we had no electric.
I remember you mentioned that on one of the tours, didn't you? Yeah.
That was more of a joke. We never did any gig as Power Cut, mainly because our bass player had an electric bass.
And refused anything else,
Then we were Obsessive for a while.
Over.
I know it's because we liked Obsession, but we thought we'd better change it.
They got a
And then we were Cape for a long time.
Cape?
Cape, C-A-P-E.
Okay, Cape.
Yeah.
Like
And,
Superman.
That was chosen from, I think, we ran to your house
Flowers,
and our old bass player picked up the little card to tell you what the thing is. I think it said Cape on it.
And that was it?
We were like,
That's how...
That's why Scouting for Girls seemed such a good idea. Now we look back and go, what were we thinking?
What's that
but at the
old
time,
shit? That'll do.
the level at the bar was so low, anything was better.
So you existed as different names, as the three of you though, and then eventually became Scouting for Girls.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Scouting for Girls in 2005. And that was, I kind of did that secretly, because in 2005, Kate was quite heavy. It was a lot more rock. Greg was electric guitar.
Right.
And just literally
Drunk.
smashed the hell out of this distorted guitar.
Right.
And it was just very loud. It was kind of melodic, but it was kind of melodic, indie, trashy rock. And we've been trying that for like 6 or 7 years, hadn't got a deal. And also it was quite pop at the time, music. And then I called a meeting down at the Swan in Ruislip, near where we were, it's that pub, and I was like, look, all these indie bands are coming back, like the Magic Numbers and the Thrills and like Razorlight, and they're like really poppy, kind of indie, acoustic-y sort of, that sort of vibe. And I was like, we should either do that or we should go rock. Okay. Because at the moment we were kind of in between the two. And like all three of them went.
Guess what we did?
They went rock forever.
They went rock, and you went pop.
And so I just did a couple of demos myself, which were like
an advert for like Volvo or something like that.
No, that was later. No, that was what I just did. Keep on Walking, which was the first song on our first album. I just did a demo, which was like that, and I sent it out, and literally. I got more response from that one CD. It was just super rough than we'd had for the whole 10 years. We'd done it. Like every record label rang us up, every management rang. And also,
so that's the song really that got you to. It wasn't the ones we all know as well as the others. But
by the time we got a record deal, we had She's So Lovely and Elvis Ain't Dead and Heartbeat.
Oh right.
And they were all there. But the one that initially kicked it off was Keep on Walking. And so the first opportunity we had was the Glastonbury Unsigned competition. And so if you won that, you got to play Glastonbury. And back in 2005, the band who played it the year before, the Subways, and they'd got a proper record deal. So this was like a big thing. And so you had to play in front of Michael Eavis at Pilton. And so obviously I'd just done this demo by myself. So I was like, guys, we've got the biggest opportunity we've ever had. What do you think about getting rid of the rock thing? And they were like,
let's do rock.
Let's go.
Count me in.
yeah. So we then formed this band. Greg was still on guitar. We had our old bass player. I drafted my sister in to sing, and we played probably the worst ever Scout for Girls gig ever in front of Michael Eavis in Pilton. and we were awful.
Wow.
But that was the start of something. Because we were then on the first song on this Glastonbury unsigned CD, which they made in the old days when people used to listen to free CDs.
Yeah.
That suddenly got sent out to everybody, and we started getting Radio 1 and XFM plays. BBC Introducing was like a massive, well, the equivalent of BBC Introducing back then.
Links FM.
Well, no, Links FM came a little bit later.
All right.
But
yeah,
the BBC were like,
later.
BBC were there really early, and Hugh Stevens, and that, we had all that going on. We had our own fan base growing on MySpace, and then we got a record deal.
Right, okay.
But it was a lot of work. Even once we had that, it was still 2 years of work after that. Every day, like literally I worked 2 days a week at Carphone Warehouse, and 5 days a week, 12 hours a day, just either working on music or sending out CDs.
What you've done though is you've earned it, because you must see these stories and people coming into the industry now. Sometimes it looks like 5 minutes. It's not always the case, but sometimes.
I don't think anyone does it anymore.
No more 5 minutes.
I think it's like winning a lottery ticket for that, and it's so rare. Anyone who is good has either got some sort of God-given talent or works really hard and is super nice. I think the work ethic, even I've worked with some artists who are incredible singers or incredible songwriters, but if they're not nice, they're not likable, or if they're not hardworking, they still won't get it. You need hard work is probably the for most success. And then when you've got hard work with some actual talent, which I think sadly we quite low on.
We've got the first bit.
Yeah, but if we had like an amazing vocalist, or something, do you know what I mean? That's where you get, like your Lennon and McCartney. That's where it goes stratospheric, where you've got like a Oasis, where you've got a great vocalist and an amazing songwriter. That's where it really goes. I feel like we've done a lot with what we had. I feel like we fulfilled our potential.
I think you're right.
And more.
Yeah.
My God, man.
We are punching.
I think you're being very modest. I think you've done some great stuff. And when that run of massive singles and albums started happening, you'd start with Keep On Walking, and then you had these in the bag ready to go. I remember hearing Robbie Williams saying he always knew he had angels when they'd done those writing sessions.
That was my father-in-law.
Could you? Right.
Well, he didn't write it, but not Robbie Williams, but he was involved with signing Robbie Williams. He actually signed Robbie Williams back there, and he always said that about all that, because some of those songs were a bit of crap as well, those first ones. Yeah. But they knew they had angels in the bag. And he was going on tour with the Supernaturals. Do you remember? Yeah. Amazing band. They're still going, and they played with us. And even James, who's the lead singer of the Supernaturals, saying we were watching him support us and blur us away every night because he was such a great frontman. And then he played this song which sounded like a standard, right? And everyone knew they had that. We didn't think that at all. Like, we went out, we released She's So Lovely. We thought it was just like not a joke song. We thought it was just a fun pop song. Yeah.
This is what I wanted to say, really. When you've written, because we all know them now, She's So Lovely and This Ain't Love Song and so on, but when you'd written them, did you think these are going to be big? Or you didn't, by the sound of it? No. Wow.
We were just excited to
have a record deal.
Yeah, have a record deal and record in a proper studio with Andy Green, who was like incredibly done Keen and Feeling and all that. And it was just like, that's what we were really sort of...
It was literally right time, right place.
So you would listen to it and think, that's us. And that sounds like good. No, really good. But you can't tell, I've heard people say this before, you can't tell, obviously, when it becomes really familiar to everyone, then it seems obvious. But at the time you've written it...
The annoying thing is, when you start writing a song, you think it's the best thing that anybody's ever written.
Right.
Always. and you get so excited about it. It's such a great thrill writing.
And then we bring you back.
And then, no, but then you start playing it to people, and then you wake up the next day and you play it and go, actually, maybe this isn't. Or then you start recording it, and it's like this gradual process of the song getting shitter and shitter in your mind. But, but then that's why it's so exciting, because every time I sit down at a piano, I think I've written the next Angels or the next This Ain't a Love Song. You know, not every time, but at least once a week, I'll sit down and I'll be like, this is the one. This is a great, this is a properly great song. And then it just takes. There's so many things that have to carry on to make that song great. And then it gets released out, and then there's so many other things that have to make that song connect now. And it's even harder now with TikTok and no sort of filter or, tastemakers saying, check this band out. Everyone's just like...
Yeah. And the casual fans who are here tonight to watch you perform at Market Rasen, they won't know maybe that you continue to bring out new music and so on as time goes on. Is that what drives you on? I mean, you obviously enjoy the live shows these days, but would you still be doing that if you weren't still bringing out new material? Is that what drives you forward? I'm asking Roy now. Not
he's got a massive mortgage.
No, I honestly think we would, because being in this band is like, it's about hanging out as mates. We were in this band because we were mates. Yeah. That's why we started the band, and we had this dream of like, this was a way of getting paid to hang out and drink beer.
Touring the world.
And I don't even drink beer anymore. No. And I still love it more than ever. I love the connection, as time, as we spend more and more time on our phones and less time together, I think it's magic when people come together and see live music. And to be on stage and making that happen is a magic thing. And so I would always do that. But I still honestly believe that we've got our best song coming. I still honestly, every time we sit down and do a new album, we're like, this could be the one.
Yeah.
Also Iceland isn't hiring.
Yeah, and Carphone Warehouse has closed down. So we all used to work at Threshers at one point.
Yeah.
Were you the boss there?
I was for a while.
Were you my boss?
I hired him.
He hired me for Christmas.
You got me the job, and then you left, and then many years later I hired him.
Yeah. And that's gone as well. That went bankrupt. But I think we may have had something to do with that.
So
certain amounts of
no other
alcohol we didn't pay for.
So, basically we can't do
it. Is it after a certain amount of time, can they not come for you?
Well, there's none of them left now.
Okay, brilliant. So. Okay.
Hi, I'm Stuart Miller, owner of Tension Twisted Realities here in Lincoln.
How long has it been here, Stuart?
It's been here since 2016, John.
What is on offer at Tension Twisted Realities in those escape rooms for 2025?
Right, so we've got Victorian Inquisition, we've got Magna Carta, we've got Plague, Lancaster, Mad Money, we've got the Theatre Royal Room based on Snow White, we've got Shipwreck, and the newest one is called The Last Appointment. And
not only have you got some amazing escape rooms, but Lincolnshire's premier escape room also offers this amazing space that we're in now, with a pool table.
With a pool table.
No less, Stuart. And virtual reality. Tell us a bit about this room.
Yeah, so down one side of the room we've got all the VR booths. We've got over 100 games and experiences on there. Like you say, we've got the pool table, we've got gaming consoles, retro machines, there's a dartboard.
And a fully licensed bar as well.
Yeah, don't forget the bar, yeah. Fully licensed, loads on offer there. We do a great range of hot food. We've just refurbed our whole kitchen.
You've got to get down here. Now, where is down here? Where are we, Stuart?
We're on Croft Street, just past the YMCA and the Archives, near the Premier Inn.
the live scene keeps bands in business, I suppose. And you have worked hard, haven't you, to get a reputation as a great live act. People who've maybe never even seen you tonight will leave here thinking they're bloody good. I'll go and see them again. Because where does that energy come from, though, to do that night after night? It's like putting on
big mortgage. No, I think it is. It's the magic of playing live. You know, obviously, I do love it, and I do. You know, there must be something slightly damaged in me that wants to go out there, and I think maybe that's kind of what started it. Is feeling that I needed people to.
Validity.
Yeah, like a validity. The fact that we're really uncool kids. And this suddenly you have a #1 single and everyone thinks you're amazing. And I do think there was definitely the attraction to being a pop star is like girls, drink, partying, everyone thinking you're amazing. And people still do. I can walk around here and everyone's like, oh, you know.
Right.
No, but like everyone's really nice to you because like, you know, because you're kind of
getting bullied now.
And I think that was maybe the drive. I think now, when you sort of, I hope I've grown enough as an adult and a human being to realise that's not a valid thing and it's not a real thing. And now I honestly get on stage to play music with these guys, which is super fun. And to do is something magic, like when
making people happy.
Yeah, making people happy and seeing because and also that's the thing is like you came out there when I was just chatting to people there.
Yeah.
No one's like, oh my God, you're amazing. Everyone's just like they think of me as their mate.
Yeah.
Because you're there, just like not you.
Yeah, I was going to say, you saw something different to me when you went out there.
You've had me fooled for a few years as well. Yeah.
But they do. It's like because that's the show. The show is about everyone together. It's not, you're not watching us, you're joining the show.
Sure.
And we create something magic. And that's kind of, I think we get away with it.
Yeah.
Year in, year out. Like every tour for the last 10 years has sold more tickets than the last one.
Yeah.
And we did this cathedral show last year, which was magic because being in a cathedral is, you know, when it's lit up. And it clicked on me, like, you know, for thousands of years, people who go to churches to sing songs, whether you believe in God or what. But what the magic is people coming together and singing music in a house with, you know, together. And that is kind of why people keep coming back to Scouting, because it is that magic of people singing songs together. And it's all happy. It's all, there's no cynicism. There's no meanness. It's pure love. And I mean that in like a real hippie sort of way, because that is kind of and money. Don't worry.
Oh, there's money too.
You know, I saw a great quote from someone who said once, Scouting feels like 3 dads who've just finished work.
I saw
and
that.
They've gone practicing because they've got a show down the Dog and Duck on Saturday. It kind of is true.
It is true, but
a lot of people think they could be in this band, which they could be probably. But that sort of when you get that with people that feel that connection, where people feel they could be up there on stage with you, then.
The annoying thing about that quote is we paid £1,000 for a stylist. For that. It was T4. It was the thing on the beach.
Yeah, T4
and I remember seeing that tweet going, Scouting look like they've just walked out the moon. You know, and I was like, what?
Yeah, probably had.
So logistically at the minute, less gigs this year because you're living in LA. Is that just because you wanted to live in LA, or to do with trying to do a bit more songwriting?
It's mainly because my wife wanted to move out there, and she has lots of family out there and wanted to try and just do something different with our life. And our kids are at a certain age where you could do that.
And you got the opportunity. Why not?
And I had a publishing deal which offered me a visa to try and do it for 3 years, and I've done some amazing writing sessions. I did one with mainly English people.
He's basically doing the equivalent of going away somewhere exotic and going to the Irish pub.
That's very true. All my friends are English.
There's an English pub round.
And I did an amazing session with Mark Owen from Take That, which was awesome. I haven't actually done that much songwriting because most of the time I'm flying back to do shows over here. But I will. That is definitely.
Are you penciling in some sessions on the plane?
Yeah.
So while you're flying back,
I do. When I fly back, I work on my laptop on the songs.
Do you?
But not flying that. It's been quite not a tough year. It's been quite
culture shock.
been working hard, and then obviously like we were in LA when the fires happened, which was a bit of a nightmare.
Absolutely.
And then obviously LA with what's going on now.
Sure.
So it's been
Good place to move to, bro.
Yeah, good move.
We've had first I've had earthquake, bears, wildfires, evacuation twice, 3 times, snakes. We were like 3 rattlesnakes this
Crazy.
week. In fact, I just got
Don't get that in bracket.
I just got a text message from my wife saying there's a bobcat outside the window, and I don't know whether
Does
a
she-
bobcat is
or
like a
it's one of
lion
those-
or what.
It's one of those trucks, isn't it?
So you're literally the moment coming back to do like Friday, Saturday, Sunday gigs, then flying back again.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
if you had all
Of course
your work
you
in the UK,
Yeah,
you'd live in LA, wouldn't you?
yeah. Well, that's a lot of flying.
In the summer I sort of spend a week here and
Right.
then go back for a couple of weeks.
You've
So it's
worked-
not. Yeah.
You've worked it, man. You've worked it.
Yeah,
so
it's
works.
okay. No, I'm actually like it's early days, but I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying the travel. I get to do some other stuff as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right, I want to save your voice because you're going on in a bit, but tour and new album.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that, then we'll stop. I promise. There's a tour next year.
Tours next year. Didn't know anything about a new album.
The tour is
I bought my lanyard now.
yeah. The lanyard is.
There better be.
The tour, the album's coming out. It's your bloody idea.
Was it?
Yeah. So the tour
There's an
is in
album out.
March. It's the 15th anniversary of This Ain't a Love Song this year. So we've released that album on vinyl for the first time. And then we thought, let's do a tour. Any excuse for a party. So that's pretty much sold out. Actually, the nearest one to here, Nottingham, is sold out.
gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quick.
Because we're not doing Lincoln, because we did Lincoln last year. So
Yeah.
I
Thanks a
think
lot.
there's Sheffield and where else?
York.
There's York.
I was thinking Leeds.
That's
I'm
kind of
thinking
Leeds.
further north. Yeah.
So that amazing.
And you
like a
picked
year out.
like February, March time, isn't it? Rather than Christmas time, which you traditionally you've been.
Just
we've
for a
never
bit of a
been out.
change. Well, basically, so
Also,
we've got this new album coming out,
Yes.
which we've started recording, which is where you buy this lanyard and you get a pre-order of the album. But we're going for Easter #1 because This Ain't a Love Song was #1 at Easter, which was your idea.
You've said that out loud now. So,
Yeah.
Right.
I
Okay.
completely got. I thought it was for tax purposes.
It wasn't for tax purposes. That's why I've got to do so much travelling now. It was tax purposes. We do it next year.
Yeah.
No, we're going for Easter #1
Okay.
for the album.
No
Wouldn't
one's
that be
done it.
amazing?
No one's done it twice in a year, twice in a row. You know. So.
Right.
Twice in a row. Well, 10 years.
With
in between.
16 years between, and a
Short
single
gap.
and an album.
No one's done it twice.
Yeah.
Ever. Right. Okay.
But yeah, we're having a crack at selling lots of albums of this.
Yeah.
So we're doing lots of fun things around that. So there'll be lots of new music at the end of the summer.
So if you buy the lanyard now, the sale doesn't count until the album's actually out. That's how it works,
and then
chart-wise.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, okay.
And then we're doing some signings and proper vinyl and CD. So yeah.
This episode is sponsored by Tension Twisted Realities, Lincoln's original and best escape room with a bar and virtual reality too.
Never miss an episode of Links Pod. Subscribe now, wherever you get your podcasts.
So I've been friends with Scouting for Girls for many years, since they first came onto the music scene actually, and visited me at a radio station I was working at. I've not only seen them perform many, many times, but I've also been away with them too, loads of times, on their tour bus all across England, and one particularly memorable time, we went to Ireland. Shh. Recently, I got this message from lead singer Roy Stride.
And I thought maybe we could get you on stage in the Market Raisins. It could be quite funny. Maybe you're playing tambourine.
So I'm given this tambourine and I walk on the stage and I realise there's no microphones anywhere near me. So nobody's going to even hear the tambourine. So off I go as they perform She's So Lovely, the end of the concert. I'm playing the tambourine. I'm thinking nobody can hear the tambourine. I'm just having a lovely time. Afterwards, loads of people start sending me videos of me on stage, and really the only thing you can hear is me playing the tambourine.
Make some noise for John Marshall!
Amazing.
Have you ever heard that song before?
No, never.
Come on, John, come on.
Could you give me some feedback on my performance there, mate?
Mate, I honestly didn't know anybody could play the tambourine badly.
Really?
Yeah.
It turns out someone can. Yeah.
Like, I thought you'd have at least maybe listened to the song.
Yeah, what was that tune again?
It wasn't out of tune, just out of time.
Just out of time. I did my very best for you. I can't believe this. I'm not getting paid now, am I?
Do you know what the introduction you did at the beginning
Yeah.
was brilliant.
That.
A little bit long.
Yeah, a little bit.
The tambourine, yeah.
Downhill? Okay, it's over.
Sacked.
My career's over. Thanks, Stride. Scouting for Girls are back out on tour February and March 2026, and I highly recommend you go and see them. I promise not to turn up with my tambourine and spoil things. Can anybody lend me a triangle?